Well, today's a big day, and I like to think that I am a man of integrity. So when I'm wrong, I want to be able to admit that. And so, for the first time in a long time, Brandon Perna, you did not curse something, but instead, it was the Perna blessing. Because the Broncos signed Ben DiNucci after he appeared on your show.
Yes! I single-handedly made Ben DiNucci the man he is today.
Yep.
A lot of people
Happy Mother's Day? No. Happy Brandon Perna Day.
A lot of people want to credit Ben DiNucci for earning his way back into the NFL. No, he didn't do it. I did it.
That guy. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is a G, a P, S. Welcome. You've got mail.
Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
Give me a part 2. I need a sequel to You've Got Mail.
I like that.
Or a gritty reboot. One of the two.
Gritty reboot would be better. Yes.
Boom, Nick. Shout out Nick for designing the shirts.
Oh, yes.
We've sold a good amount. I think we've raised over $2,000 via the shirts. So we're close.
Let's go. He's going to fumble it. Yes. Now, it's the part of the show where we praise one Brandon Perna.
Can we cut Matt Ryan some slack, guys? Dear God.
No. We need to praise Brandon Perna because Brandon Perna put on a phenomenal fundraising stream on Saturday. And it not only went incredibly well and raised a ton of money, but live, one Ben DiNucci was tweeting on the Twitters, and Brandon Perna didn't even have to slide into those DMs. And was just like, hey, you want to come talk about this on the show? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
here comes the Nooch.
The Nooch appeared. Ben DiNucci, Brandon Perna looked giddy, looked happy, looked amazing, and pulled off a phenomenal interview. And now
it was
Ben
okay.
DiNucci is on the Broncos.
It was okay. I was a little nervous without you being there with me, Tom, if I'm being honest. But Twitter, for all of its issues, powerful place. Just fire off a message, boom, you got a quarterback on your stream. It was cool because he played for the Dragons this season. So if you didn't watch the XFL, the Dragons were one of the best teams in the league. Some say maybe the second best. A big reason was because DiNucci was dealing, led the league in passing yards, just tore it up. He was also had more rushing yards than any quarterback. So he was like legit really good. So it became a fun thing to talk about DiNucci every week. And then I just made his name longer and longer and longer and longer, as you guys probably know. And then live, I got to say the long DiNucci name to Ben DiNucci. And that's all I really wanted to do.
Shut it down.
This is how we talk about you, Nooch. And then the next day, turns out the Broncos signed him. So it was a tryout. DiNucci had a tryout with the Broncos. They've got Russell Wilson. They paid quite a bit for Jared Stidham to be Russell Wilson's backup. But as we learned last year with the 49ers, you got to have 3 quarterbacks. And Sean Payton impressed with DiNucci's play. And honestly, stylistically, he's a good fit to be Russell Wilson's backup because of his mobility, his ability to make plays with his legs, like that's what like surprised me about his game in the XFL, because we don't know a lot about how backup quarterbacks really play unless you get to see them for an extended period. And he talked about getting that extra tape out there really has made a big difference. So credit to the XFL for helping with that. But yeah, the fact that he made the last thing I said was like, good luck, dude. We're rooting for you. I hope you land on the roster. And right now, boom, NFL QB. So
you did a great job, buddy.
Well, thank you. And Tom, thank you for joining me. You were my only guest until the Newt showed up, and the Grossi posse remains undefeated. Everybody showed up. Tom dropped a huge dono again. So thank you so much. You didn't need to do that. I just wanted you on the show to hype it up because I know everybody who follows you, very giving, supportive, and I appreciate it, buddy.
Brandon, we need to have a conversation.
Oh, God.
So, more people are about to go watch your stream. Okay. So,
what?
You have no idea what I'm about to say. So, remember when you asked me last week? It was like last week, I think, when you brought this up. When it was last week or like the week before, something like that. And you mentioned that you were going to stream like the XFL kind of. It's true. Brandon used the 20 I gave him as stated. As far as yeah.
Thank you, Real Lemon.
So you remember when you asked me, and you were like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. Then like the flooding happened, so like it was up in the air. If it,
I was already a little bit like backlogged. It's been a little crazy
Yeah.
around here, and then my basement flooded Thursday, and I really got derailed. So yes.
Yeah. So my cousin, who I have not seen in a while, was like, hey, do you want to hang out on Saturday? And I was like, you know what? Haven't seen you in a while. I've been working so incredibly hard. I'm 30 and 30 and just like craziness. Sure, let's hang out. So about 20 minutes before you go live, I get a text from you going, I'm going live in 20 minutes. And if you recall, the text I sent back to you in a panic, by the way, in a panic. Hold on, let's just get this. Let's just get this here. 6 your time, so in like 20 minutes, because I had completely forgotten about.
Well, you said text me a reminder, and I forgot to text until I was about to go live.
So the problem was, about an hour prior, I was hanging out with my cousin, and I was like, oh my God, I got nothing to do tonight. Let's take some vitamins. And so I was an hour in, and I really hadn't eaten much that day. I was gone.
You were gone.
On another planet, gone.
Nice.
So I get this text message, and I go, oh God, I need to go on because I need to support the charity stream in Brandon. And I am currently on another planet. So
that makes it better.
In a panic, I message our mutual contact, Johnny Barks, and I go, buddy, I messed up. I am on another planet, and I have to go on this show in like 20 minutes. And Johnny Barks, who is a legend, goes, well, why don't you just go on as Wildflower? And I was like,
there you go.
Oh my God. And so, hence why I appeared for 45 minutes as Wildflower. Wow. And I like, yeah. So Tom, I was feeling real good. Real good. But nobody noticed. No. Not a person. So Johnny Barks crushed it. And
Smart
no problem,
idea,
Brad. I'll come on anytime.
Honestly, this makes me respect you even more. A little more proud of you, Tom. You were just trying to live your life one Saturday. My lack of planning, my lack of foresight might have killed your vitamin trip, but I didn't know. I was I was a little flustered. Like, I forgot. You got to get in live streaming of a game mode.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening. I was out of practice. I was like, oh, he's Wildflower.
Yep.
I'm thinking, like, I got to interact with Wildflower. I don't know what I'm doing. So that is hilarious.
Yep. So I'd like to think we crushed it.
Yeah.
I
would like to think Wildflower accidentally dropped an extra 0 or 2 on his donation.
Oh, no, I meant to do that. So that was fine. Yeah, no, that was fine. That was fine. Well, that was the problem, too, is I was interacting with you, and I gave up on that pretty much immediately. I was like, I don't know if I can hold a conversation. So at one point, I just start singing. And then I remember going through this, and then there's a while of me just on my computer because I was trying to navigate the donation page. And I was just like, this is tough.
I like that you were on the vitamins and you still called out my dead silence when you were quiet and I was quiet for like, I don't know, 5-10 seconds.
No, I mean, we're still professional.
No, I know. It's like
I might be in a flower crown and sunglasses, which thank God, because my eyes, woo, they were beat red.
States.
But yeah, I just want to say we crushed it. So
nice.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. Anytime. I got you. You know that.
Boom. I appreciate you, Tom. You
didn't
have to come in right away. I meant like stop by any point for like 10 minutes.
Did 45. Did a quick 45.
You did a quick 45.
Yep.
We've sold a bunch of these shirts at benchwarmerbrew.com. They are $69. It's pre-order. The sale ends this week. All those proceeds go into the Alzheimer's Association and Tom's vitamin supply.
So yeah, if you want to go see that, folks, go check out Brandon Perna stream, and while you're there, buy a shirt.
Boom.
Drop a dono. It's for Alzheimer's. We're rocking.
So,
we did it.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So now you're gonna get more people to go watch your XFL stream. It's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win.
I was gonna text you beforehand and be like, dude, but I was like, no. Let's see if he notices. Nobody. And I stayed in character for 45 minutes. It's a good thing that I have a hippie stoner character because that just worked out perfectly.
Yeah. No, it did. It did. I had no idea.
So
like, Tom just knows how to be Wildflower. That's all I know.
Listen, baby. That's it.
Didn't even feel like I was talking to Tom.
Anyway, we do have some football stuff to talk about. Yes, as we mentioned earlier, Matt Ryan joining CBS as an analyst. He also put on his tweet too, like, this is not a retirement post.
So he still wants in.
It was a little winky face, but I don't know what team is going to bring him in after last year.
Probably the 49ers when all their quarterbacks are hurt after week 3.
Maybe. So like, that's cool. Good for Matt Ryan. Like, he seems like such a nice dude. And like, I know like Atlanta Falcons fans like want nothing but the best from him. And it was funny because when I did the Falcons reaction video, like somewhat recently, I went back and I was like, God, I like forgot this happened. But like the Colts were legitimately, I thought like they were going to win the division easily. Jonathan Taylor is going to be amazing. That offensive line, the defense was going to be good. And woof, they wound up hiring Jeff Saturday and blowing a 33-point lead on a Saturday. So
yeah, life
comes at you pretty fast.
Yeah, it's so weird because the Colts, like Ryan Grigson, was the GM before Chris Ballard, right? Grigson, and we were all like, he drafted Andrew Luck. Didn't he win like GM of the year? And then after that, everything was horrible. He's gone. Ballard seemed like a really solid GM. The Colts never overspending in free agency, solid drafts. But the retirement of Andrew Luck sets them back. They have Rivers. They did the Wentz experiment. It didn't work out. But Matt Ryan felt like this was the good move, the smart move. Got him for cheap. And then everything was bad. Well, except they beat the Chiefs early.
They beat the Chiefs like week 3, week 4. Yeah, that made no sense.
Chiefs. Like, okay, just taking a little bit for Matt Ryan to get going for, the line. They lost some guys on that line. And then it was like Jim Irsay was just going to ruin them. Firing Frank Reich, even when he did, still doesn't make sense. I don't think Frank Reich deserved that. The interim didn't make sense.
No.
But it feels like they're back on track is what I'm trying to say, right? Like, I like the Anthony Richardson pick. I like Shane Steichen. I think they're an exciting team heading into this season, and they really just haven't been since Phillip Rivers was there, which is a weird thing to say to but like, I don't know. And Anthony Richardson kind of boom or bust there, but I think either way it'll be fun. But they're a team that it feels like they're at the mercy of Jim Irsay. And as long as he kind of lets Chris Ballard do his thing, they're going to be okay. But when he starts to insert himself too much into their organization, that's when things go wrong, I feel like.
Well, I think it's a little easier this year because last year Colts expectations were like really high, I think, because you're in a weak division and you have the Jaguars. We didn't know how good they were going to be. You know, they had Urban Meyer the year before, and you're like, I don't know about Trevor Lawrence. Like, you showed some flashes, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get it together. They just spent a whole bunch of money in free agency to bring in these guys, and it seems like they overpaid. The Titans, they lost A.J. Brown, so you're just like, I don't know who they're going to throw the ball to. Like, that's going to be a problem. And then, of course, the Texans are the Texans. So they were kind of the front runner for it. This year, I think it's the Jaguars' division to lose. And now it's just, okay, you know, you could play Gardner Minshew as long as you want. It's just going to be a matter of when do you put in Anthony Richardson and are you throwing him right into the fire, which if they're smart, they're going to take their time with, because if there was a guy at QB that needed to develop who was going to go in the top 5, it was Anthony Richardson. So if they handle it correctly, it could go well. If they don't, they might be picking in the top 5 again next year.
Yeah, which, you know, if you're sort of, I don't want to say the Colts are rebuilding, but it's not the worst thing if they're not good this year. And I think the same goes with the Panthers, because you put in, you know, that Bryce Young is technically number 2 on the depth chart behind Andy Dalton. Their plan is to start Andy Dalton. Like, if that's the number 1 pick and you're going to ease him into it, you're basically saying the same thing about the position to any rookie coming in, right? Like, you should let them all marinate for just a little, even if it's that extra month of, I think the difference between preseason and then once the regular season hits in terms of the week-to-week game planning, how you digest the film, prepare for the upcoming game. I think that's what quarterbacks are really learning when they're sitting, is how to prepare each week for the game, because you can't simulate what it is to be playing, right? You can only help them have the mental grasp of what they need to do to be ready to go in week to week. And if they're doing that with the guy who was kind of the consensus number 1 pick until CJ Stroud was there and then wasn't again. You've got that window with Richardson and Gardner Minshew. But if week 1, if Anthony Richards starting, like, I'm not too worried for the Colts or for his development. One, I think he can handle it. I think he can handle not playing well. But unlike the other quarterbacks, if he needs a while to develop in the passing game, he can lean on his ability to run to, you know, help mitigate that leap. And when you talk about the leap he needs to make, it's really figuring out how this guy completes 2 to 5 more passes per game to get that, like, respectable completion percentage and that sort of thing. So I don't think it's as big or as crazy of a leap that we've sort of slapped on him.
I think it is, though, because I'm not even really concerned about Anthony Richardson, right? You're saying, let's just say he starts week 1. They put him week 1. Their O-line is not where it used to be. There are big question marks about Jonathan Taylor because he had that incredible rookie year and then he got injured, right? So you don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in for this upcoming season. My concern would be, okay, let's say they put in Anthony Richardson and the team is just not good enough around him. Like, he's doing okay. He's a rookie QB. He's likely going to struggle. And what happens if they are a top 5 pick? Do you trust that organization that you were just talking about with an owner that may or may not be holding it hostage? Do they go and draft another quarterback?
I don't think they draft another QB next year. I think you have to just buy into the idea that most quarterbacks need time to develop, and you need to give the guy 3 years. Unless it's clear that that it's like a Josh Rosen situation.
So what's a Josh Rosen situation though? Because that's what I was about to bring up. Is that, do you think, I mean, obviously Josh Rosen has gotten some opportunities and now it's done, but got some opportunities. But again, like also really was given 5 minutes to develop, and then they wound up the number 1 pick, and they were like, okay, never mind. Like we're done now.
I think that situation was different. It was Rosen and Wilkes, and I still don't think it was fair to fire Steve Wilkes after one season. Especially that they've moved on from Kingsbury already, you know what I mean? And Wilkes has become one of the more respected coaches in the league since then. But you can move on from a rookie QB after a year if you know for sure that he's not going to be the guy. I don't feel that way about Richardson. I think he's just so much more gifted than Josh Rosen. Like, even if he doesn't reach his full potential, he's still going to be better than Josh Rosen. You know what I mean? I think the mystery there is the sample size, right, in college. But I don't know. I like Richardson. I think he's going to be good.
I mean, listen,
but like if it all implodes and you got to draft another quarterback next year, do it. Like, who cares? It's the most important position.
Sure.
Like, I want the Broncos to either be a playoff team or the worst in the league, because
the middle ground is terrible.
The solution there is just you're middling until you figure it out.
Listen, and you could get Anthony Richardson because Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be there next year, and like he's probably going to be like a top 5 pick. So hey, listen, Colts could be that guy. You could get him the weapon, because I think the Colts are lacking a little bit on weapons. You know, not guys that are like really standing out and being like, wow, that is, their number 1 guy. So I think that the Colts are in this weird rebuild-ish kind of phase, but it's also the same with everyone in that division besides arguably the Jaguars, because the Titans imploded last year and they lost 7 straight games. Like, they imploded. Yeah. So they win 1 more. It's just completely crapped the bed. And now Derrick Henry on his final year, Ryan Tannehill on his final year. They have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, 1 they drafted last year and 1 they drafted this year. They're a weird-ass team. The Texans, they are fully rebuilding, and they might be better this year. I think they're going to not be potentially like the worst team in the league. So there's that. So if you're the Colts, you're just kind of hanging out and being like, all right, like if we had a surprise season, cool. But it's likely going to be the Jaguars division unless something crazy happens.
I think, the AFC South feels like it could be a very exciting division in 2024.
It could be. There you go. But sexy, sorry, as always. But
that DiNucci will clear your nasal passage.
Really good. Yeah, really moves things around. But yeah, I think Anthony Richardson with development time should be at least able to compete at the NFL level.
Yeah.
It's just big ifs. I mean, how many QBs that we've seen have been thrown right into the fire immediately and then they don't do so well?
Yeah, and some of them though, that's what builds them. I think what I learned about Anthony Richardson is I think he's just tough. I don't think a bad season's going to ruin him. I think he's over. You look for the guys who've overcome adversity in their lives. I think that sets them up so much more to be successful and to navigate just fucking sucking for a while. You got to fucking suck for a while, and then you'll be good at the NFL level. That's my take.
Sure.
But some guys aren't really built for that. I probably, if I sucked for a year at that level, I'd be ruined.
So
mentally, I don't think I'm strong enough for that.
But that's the age-old question. Do you then put that on the player, or do you put that on the coaching staff / team around them? If you go back there as a rookie QB and you don't have an offensive line,
it makes it hard.
Whose fault is that? Hard. You know what I mean? And sure, there will be some guys that can transcend that and be even better. and like then when they get a good offensive line, they're crazy. But you look at Dak and Zeke, right? That first year when they're both rookies, they're behind the best offensive line in the NFL. There's a reason why they did so well. And they got knocked out by the Packers. But there's a reason why they did so well.
Yeah. And I mean, like, Jalen Hurts plays to get behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL in Philly, right? So take that away. Where's his development? We don't know. I feel like Josh Allen is the best comp for Anthony Richardson, though. It's the athletic gifts are there. Josh Allen was not a good passer his rookie season, but people are like, this dude can make plays. It's not consistent. The Bills, their offensive line has never been like dominant since he's been there. It got better, and then it felt like it was worse last year. But Allen was able to sort of handle that. So, but the Bills, like, and at the time, we weren't sure about Sean McDermott or their ability to build a consistently good team every year. We thought, like, oh, they got to the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor and, that he was a good coach, and they just trusted it. And I think the Colts need to do the same. Like, even if he sucks and you're picking high next year, build around him. Take the best tackle or whoever you need on that line. It'll be fun to watch, though. But I put him in the thumbnail because if any rookie QB has a chance to win the honors of something, it is Richardson.
Ooh.
I don't think it'll be Bryce Young. I don't think it'll be CJ Stroud. I think if a guy is going to be like offensive rookie of the year, or we're going to be talking about MVP, I think Richardson has the best chance to like just have a crazy rookie season for quarterbacks.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's okay. That's an interesting take.
Because like the Colts, the Texans, the Panthers, they all have like the same issues. The Panthers have a better offensive line probably, but there's questions about real weapons in the receiving game, right? All of those places. The Colts do have the best running back if he gets back to form and if their line is a little better. So we'll see. They're all similar. They all got holes and problems, but
yes, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how each of those teams who have those top 5 quarterbacks handle that situation. And then you have the Titans who, like, I legitimately think that Vrabel's just going to throw them all in like a fighting pit and just be like, whoever's decent, go. I would not.
Loser is off the team.
Yeah. It's just, I don't even know where they even begin to go. JSN could. I mean, he's behind 2 like really good wide receivers. So there's a possibility.
When did the Titans start Will Levis? If they're competing for a playoff spot, they don't start him, right? But if they're out of it, I think he starts sooner than we might be anticipating. It's probably a very fluid situation.
I think by week 10, he could potentially be starting.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because if they like put out Tannehill, which they're just like counting the seconds until he's gone. They put out Tannehill. They put out, I don't even know if Malik Willis, like Vrabel might just leave him on the bus or something and just be like, no, like, sorry, just don't even get off the plane. But because he seems to have no faith in him because they started a little bit. They barely allowed him to throw the ball last year. And the times that he played, he didn't look great. I think Malik Willis they don't like him, but yeah.
And there's already rumors that they might just release him. Right?
Yeah.
Malik Willis.
Yeah. They might bring him into camp and see what happens, but
this is where Broncos fans are. There was rumors Malik Willis might be cut and everybody's like, Denver should sign him.
Get him. Go get him.
Sign him. We'll take him. Give us the unknown. Give us Trey Lance, Malik Willis, and Benadanucci. Russell Wilson needs 5 backups. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, who might also wind up being QB1. But yeah.
Russell Wilson will get 1 MVP vote. That's all I ask.
Just one.
Just one.
That actually.
The Titans they've had a long streak of boring quarterbacks too. That's been like a real problem with the South. Trevor Lawrence is exciting. That's changing in Jacksonville. Minshew was exciting, but that was fleeting.
They brought in Nick Foles and
yeah, the Texans haven't had a fun quarterback for a while. The Colts haven't. It's just that's why we need some sexy QBs in that division, and I think they got a couple now. I think they got a couple.
What was that?
I think they got a couple.
One more time.
I think they got a couple sexy QBs in that division.
Oh, you just repeated what you said before.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, and just so everybody knows, it is official, Tom. Whenever moving forward, if Tom starts to upset me.
Fuck Tom.
Yeah, fuck Tom.
Fuck Tom.
And you know what the best part about that clip is? Johnny could not find it in the episode. And I was like, oh, I know exactly where it is. I literally fast forwarded to a second. I was like, here you go. It's at this time.
Yeah. It's hard to do that today because I'm so happy you were on the vitamins and you really helped me out, assisted me this weekend, uplifted me this weekend. So I only want to use that when very, very necessary.
Got it.
I'm
so
just
you only
glad we all thought about it once that went live.
Did you watch last night's?
Yeah. The touch screen's down. The touch screen's down.
Touch screen.
Touch screen's down.
Don't get wasabi in your eyes. Ooh.
No, he is this era's Nick Foles.
He's gonna be a backup QB that wins a Super Bowl, but not with the Broncos.
MVP Ben Adenucci coming up.
You know what? But I know we're gonna jump into MVP real quick. I have a legitimate question to ask you.
Sure.
Put all bias aside, which is gonna be very difficult, but put it all aside. Do you think Deshaun Watson's actually going to be good this year?
I think he's going to be better.
That's a really low bar to clear.
No, I know. I don't know if he'll be back to where he was, but I think he's going to be better. Based on everything I know about football, what I don't want to happen usually happens, and I don't want him to be good. So I feel like he's going to be good.
The Browns are such an interesting situation right now. They
got your boys Darius coming in.
Yes, and so Browns fans were, because it happened right as I was going live for Friday Night Q&A, and Browns fans were like, Tom, what's gonna happen? Yes. What's gonna happen? And I was like, he's gonna show up for the first half of the season, and then you're never gonna see him again, because that's what he does. He goes to the Vikings. He's so pumped. He's like, purple people eaters. Week 1 destroys Aaron Rodgers, wrecks the Packers, does pretty well for the first 8 weeks, and then vanishes without a trace. And that's who Zadarius Smith is. So, yeah, he'll be really good for a little bit, and then you won't hear from him for the rest of the time. But the Browns are an interesting team just because they have so much of their future tied up, not just with salary cap, but also with draft picks in their current QB. If he is just decent and adequate, oh boy, that is going to be one of the bigger stories this year, because last year he didn't play for the majority of the year. Jacoby Brissett did a really nice job. Watson comes in, didn't look that great, what have you. Now that he's going to get a full season, if he's bad,
I'll pose a question for you. It would be the third Colts QB, by the way. Elway was drafted by the Colts. Then you got Manning. Anthony Richardson will be a Bronco in 5 years. If Deshaun Watson, let's just say he is the best quarterback in the league next season. Let's just say he's the best one. He's throwing for 4,500 yards. He's got 40 passing touchdowns. Yeah. He's got 10 rushing TDs. Browns are in first place.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance on earth he wins MVP?
I think he'd get votes. So,
do you think he could get enough votes, though?
Listen, and I'm not conflating these two things. However, nobody thought Aaron Rodgers was going to win for a second time just because he won, and I mean back to back, because he came out on McAfee. He was very anti-COVID in an age where everyone was just like, you have to get the vaccine. and was like, went very much against that. You had journalists coming out and saying, I don't care what he does. I'm not going to give him a vote. And he still won.
Was it the Browns guy who said he wasn't going to vote for him? Who was
No,
the guy?
I think Chicago guy, I thought.
Oh, Chicago. That's right. Chicago writer.
It's almost like I just said this. They're not the same thing. But the idea of people just voting because they're the best player, I think he's going to get votes. I don't know if he's going to win unless he's like a clear like runaway guy that he's like 5,000 yards, 55 touchdowns, and there's nobody even close. But good God, that would be something. That would be something.
Yeah, I don't think he can win it. Like, he would have to. I think for him to win, he would literally have to be breaking all the passing records. Like, you'd have to be past Peyton Manning's 55 touchdowns in a season. He'd have to be throwing over 5,000 yards. He might have to also do all that and break Lamar Jackson's rushing record in a season. Like, I can't not vote for him. But
I don't think he's going to get it. But the point of me making the Aaron Rodgers thing is like a lot of people thought that he wasn't going to get it because of outside circumstances. Obviously, these are much more significant. But yeah, I think he'd get votes. But I think he would have to be legitimately like have the greatest season ever for a quarterback for him to actually win MVP. I think they'll give it to a running back before they give it to Deshaun Watson.
So here are last year's nominations, right? Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Justin Jefferson, Patty Mahomes. We all know Patrick Mahomes ended up winning it. Defense, Bosa, Jones, Parsons. Then you had your offensive guys, Tyreek Hill. It's like offensive player of the year is basically just your non-quarterback.
Correct.
MVP always goes to QB. So I think all of these guys will obviously be in contention again, right? Mahomes, Hurts, Burrow, Allen.
Could be Rodgers in there now.
Aaron Rodgers could make his way into that conversation.
Honestly, Micah Parsons, if he continues to ball out, he needs to start being in that conversation.
Ooh, yeah, that would be interesting. Here's what I'm thinking, though.
Real quick before we jump into MVP talk,
Sure.
You saw this, right? Like I saw that last week that it's starting to look more and more like the Vikings are just going to wind up straight up cutting Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, please. I heard about that.
Please do it, you moronic purple incarnation of Satan. Please do it. Yeah, cut the running back, please.
What's his contract this year? It's just to save money, right?
There's a bunch of there's some things that are coming out about it, and there's just a lot of noise. And there was like they were trying to trade him, but
yeah.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. Imagine he just goes to the Eagles.
Oh.
And the Eagles are just like, yeah, sure, why not? Why not?
I mean, Denver would have to be interested in him.
He's a good running back.
Yeah. I think it's just like he's not the best running back in terms of like he's not in the conversation for your top 3 backs like he was a couple years ago.
I still think he's a top 10.
Yeah, he's very solid. I think it's just he's just at that weird age where the Vikings are betting he's going to just continue to decline after this. And it's like if we move on from this money now, it feels like honestly to me the Vikings feel like they are setting themselves up for 2024.
Brandon, I will make it a national holiday. I swear to God, if they re-sign Kirk Cousins again, I will literally throw a parade.
Happy Kirk Cousins re-signing day.
I will throw a parade, and it will be marvelous. I don't care if I'm the only one in the parade. It will be amazing because that would. Oh God, I'd love that so much. I'd love it so much because what are they going to do? Because this is the last year of his deal. He could still play. And while I do like to crap on Kirk Cousins and he's a serial killer and he also spits on children, what I also like, he is a good quarterback. He's not elite, but he's a good quarterback. I just don't know if they have the team around him to be, because their defense is still not great. And I don't know if they have the team around him to like go far.
I think their defense will be better just under
Again,
Flores.
low
but
bar. Very, very low bar.
They got it. Yeah, they need another year to get there.
But he's going to
Dalvin
bank
Cook.
them.
You said the Eagles. He also feels like a cowboy, a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh my God, please. You know what? Kirk Cousins, go to the Denver Broncos.
Russ and Kirk on the same team. Could you imagine?
Yes.
The shrapnel this franchise would be taking on an hourly basis.
See, the Broncos' next schedule release video would just be a shopping trip of both of them going to Kohl's together. And just like they're putting in different items that remind them of the other teams. There you go, Denver Broncos social media team. I gave you exactly what you needed. Done.
Honestly, you know what? I would kill for a Kirk Cousins Russell Wilson podcast. You know how fucking weird that would be, Tom? Just two guys who I don't think could have chemistry with each other. They're very weird in their own unique ways. Both play quarterback, both super religious in different ways. Just give it to me.
I want them to end or start or both or middle. They don't even have ad reads, or if they do, it's for like holy water. But what I'm saying is like they end or start with hymns, because we know that Kirk Cousins can sing, and I don't think Russell Wilson can. So that makes it even better. Please. Oh my God. I would.
I think it should be. Their podcast should be titled "Who is Hymns?" Yes,
I am him.
And they talk about a good player from the NFL, but that player can never be better than Jesus.
They rank him like the apostles or the saints or whatever. He's like a Saint Mark right now. Like I feel like he's right around there.
Oh my God, Hymns sponsored by Hymns. Yes, Keegan. Business manager, future business manager.
I am hymns. Okay. So let's talk about. Honestly, that would be an amazing topic. Like what? Like pairings would be the greatest show. I actually really want to watch the Andy Reid episode of the Kelsey podcast. I want to watch that because it looked like it was really good.
Yeah.
So just
Andy Reid. I love Andy Reid.
Let's talk about MVPs.
All right. I already know who I think my surprise candidate is.
All right, go ahead. I swear, if you say Russell Wilson, I'm kicking you out of this right now.
Nope.
Okay, good.
Actually, he kind of looks like this.
He rides a bike?
Trevor Lawrence, baby. Trevor Lawrence. My dark horse MVP candidate.
Ooh.
If somebody I think can win that honor that nobody's really talking about, it is T-Law. T-Law. I mean,
interesting.
We talked a lot of this today. We should just have retitled this "Breaking Down the AFC South" at this point. But like, the Jags had no expectations going into this coming season. We were like, "Hey, Doug Peterson, that's probably a good hire, but why did the Eagles move on from him? Like, is he not as good as we thought he was?" Urban Meyer, we know he was the problem, but is this Jags team even good? Paid all these like number 2 receivers big time money. They're in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence has a terrible first half. Even though one of those picks wasn't his fault, but 2 definitely were. Then he leads a comeback in the postseason. Did things last year that looked like an MVP caliber quarterback. So I am excited to watch Trevor Lawrence, and I think he'll be in the conversation at the very least, assuming, there's not some sort of setback for the Jags. Plus, they get the boost to Calvin Ridley. I like that offense in Jacksonville.
I like that. I don't think MVP, though crazier things have happened. I don't think MVP, But I think at least nominated for Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Justin Herbert.
Ooh.
I really think Lombardi going away is a bigger deal than you think it is. I really think you're going to see a little bit of a different offense. I think you're going to. I'm not saying MVP.
See, this is what's going to be so shitty because, all right, you're probably right in that maybe Joe Lombardi, not the best offensive coordinator.
He's not.
But I think Justin Herbert's injury last year hindered his big-time production just as much as the coordinator. So even if Lombardi stayed there, I think Herbert would have been better this upcoming season regardless. It is Kellen Moore, though. But Kellen Moore, I think, was pretty highly regarded everywhere but Dallas by the end of last season. So I think you are going to be very right, Tom. And I think I just don't think it's all on Lombardi.
I don't think so either.
With that, like Herbert still, he was second in passing yards like last season. It's just like Mahomes is insane. 25 touchdowns. I think you'll see more passing touchdowns from Herbert. Also, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both injured on and off all season.
Quentin Johnston now.
Yeah. Their line, they lost Slater. Like, there's a lot of things that should say, but they are the Chargers. If one thing
I'm done. I've done it too many years. I'm done like hyping up the Chargers. I'm not going to do it, and watch, this will be the year that they're great. Their schedule release video, top notch, MVP, get all the awards for that. But no, I don't even care about the Chargers at this point. I think Justin Herbert is just going to have a very good year.
What I do like, Tom, is you said Herbert, I said Trevor Lawrence, and obviously they played in the same game.
Sure.
Well, look at that. 25 touchdowns from each dude. Trevor Lawrence a little safer with the football there. So, like, similar production last season.
I think Joe Burrow, we talked about him last year. I think that you and I both said that he could potentially win MVP last year. I think if he's able to cut down on those interceptions a little bit, like, he's going to be even better because he has a 68.3% completion rating, right? So that's better than the two guys that are above him in terms of passing yards. He puts up a ton of yards because they have so many offensive weapons. Burrow would probably be like my pick again to be MVP because I'm just waiting for that like incredible season that he's going to have with all of the ammunition that he has.
Yeah.
Rodgers is going to have a good year too. I think Rodgers is going to get Offensive Player of the Year. He's going to be up there for that.
Interceptions. Okay. Russell Wilson only had 11. Yet people act like all he did was throw interceptions.
It was just because he only threw 16 touchdowns.
I know. But like, it's one of those weird narratives that because he played so crappy on Christmas, everyone's like, all he does is turn the ball over. It's like, that wasn't actually true.
Russell Wilson. Wait. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are almost identical in completion rating last year. 60.5
yeah, they had
and 60.4.
very similar. 17 TDs for Fields as well. Yeah, they're very similar.
Except he could run.
Yeah, a lot. Here's a question. You think any running back has a shot to win MVP?
Running backs?
Yeah.
CMC maybe if he stays healthy?
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
Because he might be their quarterback for a little bit too. So he might throw a few.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, because he might just be that guy too while they're trying to figure out who their quarterback is. But yeah, no, CMC I'd probably say for MVP, like, because that's a big charge.
I think Isaiah Pacheco will have a big uptick in production.
I agree. Yeah, because he's not going to be splitting with like anybody. He's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be MVP. But
the back I am most curious about is Jonathan Taylor heading into this season.
I am too. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
What about receivers? We got any receivers we think can...
Justin Jefferson's going to be amazing. Like, if Tua is healthy, like, the Dolphins are such a weird team because I really think they have all the pieces they need. for them to make a good playoff run. Unfortunately for them, their division got better. They're in the hardest conference. And on top of that, you don't know about Tua's like long-term health.
Yeah, I think Tua's a quarterback I wanted to talk about today too, because before he got concussed, he wasn't in the MVP conversation. We were just starting to be like, we got to take Tua seriously because the production is consistent every week. He's throwing touchdowns. He's throwing key throws late in games. Like their victory against the Ravens was insane. And then he got hurt and it all went to poo-poo. But
yeah,
Tua could be in the MVP conversation again for sure.
I think Rodgers
Derek Carr will be a lot better in New Orleans, but not MVP.
Not award level. Yeah, I agree with that.
But Justin Fields too. What's interesting about Fields? It's year 3 for Justin Fields.
Yeah,
this is like when you were earlier talking about like Anthony Richardson and the team moving on from him. I think year 3 is where you really determine if your guy is your franchise QB. And it's the second year with this offense, with their current coaching staff. They've built around him. There's not going to be a lot of excuses left for Justin Fields. So I think you got to kind of see a little bit of that Josh Allen leap this year for Fields.
Last year was enough for them to not draft a quarterback. And they had the number 1 overall pick. Like they could have turned around and did it. But and I think if you look at like that first little bit of the season, you're like, oh no, like he's not the guy because like he just wasn't playing well. But then Getsy was like, you know what if we actually started developing an offense around Justin Fields? And look at that, he did significantly better. I think Justin Fields has a really good chance to springboard because they already have Darnell Mooney. They brought in DJ Moore, which I love. They drafted offensive line early in this draft. So if the offensive line is any better, they already have more weapons. Losing David Montgomery, I don't love that for them. I mean, I do as a Packers fan, but I don't love that for them. But Khalil Herbert and they got Foreman, like, should be good. So I'm curious to see how he's going to perform.
If Justin Fields wins MVP, the first person he needs to thank is Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's who he needs to thank on his podium.
Do you want to elaborate or not?
I'm waiting for everybody to remember when Ryan Fitzpatrick, after their Thursday night game, criticized the Bears for not calling the game to Justin Fields' strengths. And Ryan Fitzpatrick was ripped because he said Justin Fields is a running quarterback. Let him run. Design plays for him to run. He was also called a racist for saying that. And a week or two later, they adjust the game plan to Fields' strengths. That's what we kind of forget. It felt like it took them a little too long to kind of start tooling that offense in the right direction. And, oh God, Justin Fields looks good. Best 3-win quarterback we've ever seen. Now we see. This is a big year for Justin Fields.
It's a big year. Yeah, I agree. So anyway. Someone mentioned Jared Goff before. I think he could have a very good year.
Yeah, I don't think he'll win MVP, but
I think he could have
be in the conversation.
He could have a sneaky good year, potentially like offensive player of the year nom, but he could have.
He just wins a playoff game for the Lions.
Oh my God.
If he wins 2 playoff games for the Lions.
Okay. All right. Now we're getting.
That trade just looks like a win-win. And it was not labeled as that. It was like the Lions were being nice to Matthew Stafford and they accepted Jared Goff.
Yeah, they're just like, we'll take him off your hands. It's not a problem. Like my mom just threw out an old TV because I got her a new one. That's basically what the Rams did with Jared Goff.
And he had just a really solid season last year. I need to see back-to-back really good seasons from Jared Goff. I don't think he's had that in his career.
Well, I mean, you look at right now, the NFC North, you have Justin Fields, you have Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, and Jordan Love. That is like the weirdest lineup of, it's not like brand new QBs. It's just a weird hodgepodge of QBs. And they're just like, yeah, well, someone's got to win the division. Go. But the Lions with Jared Goff are going to be the favorites to win the North, or at least they should be.
That'd be nice.
I mean, the NFL obviously believes in them enough because week 1 they're putting up against the Chiefs. So,
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Ooh.
If they actually, I don't think they will, but if they beat the Chiefs, it's still week 1, you know, at the end of the day. But oh boy,
Oh
Detroit
man,
is gonna go insane.
I need to bet on that. I'm gonna put money on the Lions beating the Chiefs that
If
week.
they do, because they did I saw like a video that the Lions put out. They put like all the teams on popsicle sticks, and they like had players walk by and like which ones they were really looking forward to playing, and a bunch of them chose the Chiefs.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. It always feels like it takes the Chiefs a week or two to get going in the NFL. Lions played pretty good week 1 last year, right? But lost. Or did they win week 1 or they lose?
Brandon didn't even mean to do that, guys.
Do what?
You said I'm going to have to bet on that. And people are like, oh, gambling joke Lions. I'm like, there's no way that Brandon did that intentionally.
Oh, no, I am going to bet on them. But I get it now. Here's the thing. I think rookie running back Jahmyr Gibbs, week 1, goes off against Kansas City. Not an easy team to run against. Chris Jones, he's a beast. Their linebackers, insanely talented. But, as you were talking about earlier, offensive line. Who's done a great job building their offensive line? The Lions. I think
their line is good, yeah.
I think week 1, people are going to be overexcited about Gibbs because he's going to torch the Chiefs.
Greg! Whoop! Ready for Kitty? Allen gets injured. Oh, no. Fins? The Fins? Oh, I'm going to say about that.
Hey.
Appreciate you, Greg. Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually, the way that I see the game going, I think it's going to be very similar to a couple years ago, the opening game, when it was the Bucs versus the Cowboys, and everyone thought the Cowboys were going to get destroyed, but the Cowboys actually stayed in that game for a while. They didn't win, but they stayed in it for a while. I would not be surprised if that's kind of the outcome of the Lions-Chiefs game.
2 things happen next season. Lions win week 1, Broncos sweep the Chiefs. Everything else up in the air. Here's a question. Better season. Because I think you mentioned Joe Burrow, but Josh Allen will be in the MVP conversation. Those are, I think a lot of people think that the second best quarterbacks in the AFC. Who has a better season next year? Joshy Allen or Joey Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Ooh.
I'm going to go the hottest take right here and answer Ray's question. I don't think it's going to be like bad, but I think Josh Allen's going to take a step back this year.
How about you? Okay. Perfect
like
scenario.
Fuck Tom.
Yeah, fuck Tom.
Fuck Tom.
Don't you be coming after my guy, Tom.
I'm not even coming at the reason I'm saying that is because I have been pounding the table all this time that what they need to do is stop making the entire team about Josh Allen. They need to stop doing that. They have to. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl if they every game go, all right, Josh Allen, go out and win the game. And I know people are going to give me crap for that, but I'm telling you, that is a thing.
That's what they do with Mahomes, though.
Football player, but you can't put it on him every single week. That's why there needs to be a philosophy shift in which they do need to run the ball more, have a more balanced offense. I don't think it's that crazy to say that the Bills need to not take the Aaron Rodgers approach or the Patrick Mahomes approach and just be like, yeah, it's just one guy could just do everything. I'm just saying. I don't think Josh Allen's going to be bad this year. I think he is not going to be as good as he was last year. I know he was injured last year, but I think they're going to run into problems if they continuously just put it on one guy's shoulders and go out and win. Like, the defense needs to take a step up. Hopefully Von Miller's healthy this year. Like, I want the Bills to succeed. I hope that they do. I hope the defense is better. Obviously, their secondary got demolished last year, too. Hopefully that's better this year, and their defense takes a step up. But again, they're in a tougher division. They're in a tough conference. They need to, allow Josh Allen to do what he does, but it's not a necessity every single play. because it seems like there are times, even against the Lions game, the Lions on Thanksgiving, which is a game they almost lost. Josh Allen was able to just throw that ball and they were able to win that game. However, what happens in the Bengals game in the playoffs? The Bengals come in, they limit Josh Allen, they get destroyed.
All right. My candidate, also AFC East QB. I think Tua could be a quarterback who has the biggest step back.
Which one? Tua
Tagovailoa.
Okay. All right.
And I like Tua. Love Tua.
That's
But
it.
he was hot before he got hurt. I want to see him play at that level again multiple times. Haven't seen it yet. Another guy, I guess, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
could be back in the MVP conversation.
Sure.
He kind of has to be at this point. Got the extension. He's got weapons. It feels like the Ravens have done their part to surround him with guys. So I think Lamar Jackson has to be in the MVP conversation for the Ravens. So I don't know if he will be. I think he will, but I need to see it. He needs to stay healthy too. That's the other issue. But give me Lamar in that combo.
We got a classic Brandon Perna eye rub. What a day.
Them eyes need to be rubbed sometimes.
Yeah, I'm curious with Lamar. Like, they've gotten him some more weapons. I'm curious to see if they come out swinging. But again, I also like the most important thing for the Ravens is that people stay healthy, because they haven't had J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards like at full strength. It seems like forever that they're both able to have that 1-2 punch, and then you also have Lamar Jackson.
My darkest horse candidate, Bailey Zappi. When Mac Jones bores Bill Belichick to death week 1, when Bill falls asleep for the first time in his life coaching football because Mac Jones is so boring, Bailey Zappi enters week 2, leads the Patriots to second place behind the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East.
Ooh. You think that... Wait.
Only with the Bailey Zappi, though. McCorkle starts. Have fun at last place with an 8-9 record in that division.
Okay. Just gonna leave that one. Hold on real quick, because we haven't mentioned him. Does anybody talk about Kenny Pickett?
No.
No.
He's almost as boring as Mac Jones.
Them getting an offensive, like going up and trading up for an offensive lineman, like I like that a lot. Because their offensive line was atrocious. So I think he'll do better. George Pickens, I think, is going to have a really nice year. I think he might be in the offensive player of the year conversation, because he is just insanely good. Like, he is insanely athletic, insanely gifted. So, just saying. But we did it, Brandon.
We did it.
So if you had to do one guy that you're like, yup, he's my favorite to be MVP.
Favorite? Probably Mahomes. But if I'm going for the title angle, surprise MVP, I'm sticking with Trevor Lawrence.
I like that.
Sticking with T-Law. The Trevor Lawrence will judge you. The Trevor Lawrence will judge you.
Sean turning into Jerry Jones.
The Rock. The law will judge you. Actually, that's not The Rock. That's isn't that the night? The night one? The one with the night. Where am I? Who am I?
Batman?
No.
What do we like? Judge Judy?
First Night. That's it. First Night. The law will judge you. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
All right. Let's just real quick.
People were asking about the post.
Judge you. Hello.
Are you?
I will judge you.
Oh.
Allah will judge you. Allah
Sean
will judge
Connery.
you. Allah will judge you.
The law will judge you.
Are you just gonna make that a clip now?
Nah.
Okay. All right.
So
All right.
Trevor Lawrence. That's how I say Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I got Joey B. Rodgers, I think, will be in that conversation too. I think he's going to get back to MVP for him, and then Herbert would be my dark horse.
Yeah.
What you got coming out? Are you talking about the XFL today?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are. Okay, cool.
We got a little XFL championship recap / Luis Perez video coming out later today.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
That's a great story, Luis. What do you got?
It is, yes. Also, you know what? Time out for a hot second. Before we get to pee, is that why you're dancing a little bit?
This is maybe.
Okay, real quick. XFL, I'll be very honest. I watched one game because of Kurt Benkert, and that was it. But the amount of negativity that I've seen about the XFL when like you had Luis like talking about like we're gonna be world champions and stuff like that. The amount of people crapping on the XFL is like you won like a mini football league thing. Like F off. Like let people enjoy things. Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like they won. Like they should be proud of that. Like hopefully they get further opportunities down the line. Just like I didn't really even watch the XFL, but if people enjoyed it, let people enjoy things. Like
let's just go straight to the source and say fuck Mike Florio for talking shit about the XFL championship game. Like, why even why punch down like that?
Because I told you,
while Perez was hyping up the team at halftime, he said world champs. Let's go be world champs. That's your takeaway from that, Mike? It's BS.
I told you that he's a douchebag. I have told you this for years.
I've never said he's not.
Years.
That was over the line.
He's a douche nozzle. He is.
You know, he needs to be judged.
Allah will judge you.
That's right, Florio.
Allah will judge you.
And guess what the verdict is? Guilty of being a douche.
Yeah, I'll be putting out a reaction video today for a team. I don't know which one yet, but I'm going to be putting one out. Yeah, but I'm going to let you go pee. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
We've reached a destination.
Which is the bathroom.
Anti-Florio
Oh.
sphere.
Oh.
It's a sphere.